back in September, you might remember if you were here on one of these Sangha nights, I stood on that stage over there and I said that although this Buddhist centre does reasonably well financially, although we make a small surplus every year, our position was simply not sustainable. Can you hear me now? Yeah. So for one thing, Surya Mati and myself have been working for several years without taking any support. But we're both in our mid-60s and we need to be taking steps backwards, and fairly soon some younger people will need to take our place, and they will need support, whereas we don't, financial support, whereas we don't. And secondly, I said that Satyajyoti was working, had a full-time job as a women's mitra convener and teaching classes, etc., but she was only supported part-time and she had to have another part-time job, which was quite stressful to make ends meet. So that we needed to support Satyajyoti full-time. And thirdly, I said that, we were already stretched on the centre team. We already needed at least one extra person on the centre team, because the number of people involved in this centre at every level, from beginners up to mitras, to people who are training for ordination, to order members, has doubled in the last 7 years. And we just needed more, at least one extra person, just to cope with the level of activity that we have now. Putting all those things together, I said that we needed to move from supporting 2.5 people on the centre team to supporting 6 people within a few years, within maybe 3 years. So to make this possible, I said that we'd set a target of doubling our standing order income over 3 years. And that seemed a pretty tall order, actually. It had taken us, 12 years of having a Dharma economy to build up to the level we had now. We were saying we want to double that in 3 years. But we felt there's such a positive spirit in this Sangha, that such a spirit of generosity, that we were optimistic that together we could rise to the occasion and solve that problem. So I asked for your help in overcoming this problem that we all shared, and your response has been frankly overwhelming, I mean moving even. It's been a genuine tribute, I think, to you as a community, to the spirit of generosity and shared community that we've built up over the years in Sheffield. That response has just been an absolute tribute to that, because instead of doubling our standing order income over 3 years, we've just about doubled it in 3 months. That very challenging target that we were set, we've just done that. What can I say? I mean, what can I say? The statistics, well, last count there were 157 people, it's probably gone up a bit since then, right? Supporting the work of this centre with standing orders, contributing over £50,000 a year to the centre. And there are still 12 people, I think, maybe fewer now, on top of that who pledged to take out a standing order or to increase an old one. So we will probably reach our target of doubling our standing order income to about £54,000 a year. So we're now in a position to support Satyajyoti full time and to take on a new centre team member that we need. So Alice Fowler will be joining the centre team when she comes back from her 3-month ordination retreat in July. And Alice has already shown very great commitment to the Sheffield Sangha. She's been working in the evolution shop for the last 5 years. She's taken a leading role with the young people's group. And if you know Alice even a little bit, you'll know that what a great addition she'll be to the centre. So, hooray! Hooray! So your response, or our response, to this problem means that we've now got a really stable base from which we can move forward to the future. We can plan the transitions that we need to make and move into the next phase with this Buddhist centre. And most importantly, we can do that without sacrificing the Dharma economy. the economy of generosity. As far as we're concerned, the Dharma economy is a completely precious principle. We have a clear vision of what we're trying to achieve at this centre. We are trying to build a community based on Buddhist spiritual principles. A community in which we relate to each other on the basis of spiritual values, not worldly values. So a community in which we support and encourage each other to grow and flourish. And because none of us is going to get anywhere with the spiritual life unless we build that sort of community among us. No man is an island. And we can't create that sort of community on a basis of the usual marketing values that apply in the economy out there in the world. I'll give you this, but only if you give me that. I'll allow you to make use of my knowledge and my skills, but only if you give me handsome payment in return. And if you can't pay, tough. That is absolutely no basis for building a spiritual community. Any real community, certainly any spiritual community, has to be based on very different values from that. A real spiritual community is a place where people contribute what they can and get what they need. Where all that is based on mutual metta, mutual appreciation, mutual gratitude, and mutual desire to contribute. A shared sense of being part of a common project that's bigger than any one individual. To be part of a community like that allows us to be genuinely human, to genuinely connect with each other at a heartfelt level, and to grow beyond our tight focus on our own little selves. So, a few years ago now, quite a few years ago, as an act of faith, if you like, faith in spiritual principles, faith in human nature, we took the risk of going whole hog for a complete Dharma economy, as complete as we could make it. We don't charge for any Dharma events at this centre, even retreats. There is no suggested donation, which is a veiled charge every time you turn up at the centre. Nobody has to ask for a concession because they don't have a job or have a low-paid job. Everything is genuinely free, with no buts and no ifs and no shoulds. And doing that was a risk. It's a risk, but we did it as an act of faith. Faith in the fact that it is possible for human beings to come together and form a community based on something a lot more idealistic than the sort of marketing values that apply in society. And we did this because we hoped that this would allow our Sangha to come together as partners in a common project, rather than as service providers and paying customers. And your response to our request for help in making the centre sustainable shows that that act of faith was just completely justified. We have risen to the occasion. Among us, we clearly have created a sense of shared community, a real desire to contribute to that community, a sense of being partners in a shared project. We've still got a very, very long way to go in that direction. We could be so much more, but something is going on here. Something is going on here that gives us real hope for the future. And I think, and for this, I think we should give yourselves, or ourselves, a big pat on the back and a really big round of applause.